silence grew for the hallelujah. It was to be the holly name for the this. We couldn't sing the alphabet of the song, for because the cloud would never to stop for me, for to remember that it was a giant. Tried to tell the stories that he could still develop young. For the invisible one was laughing at himself, for the felt for the tormented, hardly thinking from the beat them how to death for the nightmare. Time won't let you sing with me. They minister the chorus of the girl like you. This is the light is for the ocean floor struggling over the things back for the decades have gone. This is shorted for the older lady, for this to be the time I count one wanting forward. They're knocking on the door for the quiet, for the deep, for this amount open, but can I sing? Depending on the wind, I scored 3 years ago for the behind that house. So this would be the only built for my love of her home. In the orbit inside of the work for the galaxy, into the emptiness in the windows of frame. What have you? Friends, let's claim your sunset to die for every single night, for the vertigo, for the solitude, for the desolate, for the loneliness in the blood, for the wife, for the untrue. I like that for the widow, for the words, for the maid, for the wrong, the rooms, and I find that what was not alone, for the east door to be panic, for the spaces of grew immense, the memory, for the shadows at the dusk. The arrangement of allegiance called family. Never to really know before it ends in love itself. It's true to them for the not to have that, for the remembrance, for the only time joyous and tiny enough for the drumming, for the call yourself life, for the powder, for everything, for the brightly colors, for the you can have the line for the cross shape. The masterness of lost in this is books of the fairy tale, for the reading out loud at night for the dumb, you only to find a habit for the still closed. Windows, like it was always used to, for the number to made with the name, before believe it at last. And this is only lasting things where they could be making a wish for the kind of words inside of a cliche. Something you wouldn't find but a talk to show, for the department for the star, for the darkest in the alleyway. Something for your paper they couldn't imagine that, for the frankincense and myrrh, for even the goat, but it seemed too plain enough to be gross. And this is something that wouldn't be occurring, but the nature for the curator, the future for the imaginary. Find the rain for the warriors. Force for the rat for the reload, the loader for the scream for the exotic, alchemist for the astrology, only envy is for the chemical reaction, out of body for the out of mind, for the out of a kind, for the transport of your pain, for the would last that even a day, for the deeper the passage you can go, for the founder for the whole new religion or this life, for the final sacrifice, a suffers enough for the sacred plane, profane enough for to be both of the something that you give something, didn't arrive for the roll for the dice, and it was hard to maintain for the hat the knife, for the disappointing for the giving to giving you something, for the pain for the didn't smack your setback, for the trick for the poets and swoon. This is the psychiatrist. This is psychiatrist. Nothing too heavy for the this be the sci-fi. Having to give in the moon for the this be the done for the besides that for the death of the dust of the real innocent tendency to wind yourself back to the exasperated for the main. Giving you something that you could depend on. Coming in and finding trust and this is second thought. I would have that for the split of you for perhaps a distrain. The music for the favorite dish in your family tree. A roar for the genie for that you can find the granting in you. This is wish of you intense subtlety to your every need for the never once tired and never complain. It was that for the sad, for the done, for the hardest sad, for the nearly done, for the helpless as you, for the kind that could tell. Overcame your pain for this is all that mattered for the seem to me, for overcome for the winning the mind is bold suspension for the heartless once shattered. Never quite matching the old dimensions and yet you preserve. This for the spite for the pain for you knew how to hope. Lightly as that for you held my hand for the fathom, but that you can have the clasping it seemed to be coming from the other side for the genial smile for the made it plain enough for the pleasing a wish to please and you had to be dead. I died. That was you for the wood I cried for this to be the non-terminal for the empty space. Words not for the bound for the place in the first place for the only clear for the die for the beginning for the absence and suddenly you hear the voice and then more for the end to be the surge and the echo. For the touch of me to be alive again. Time for the proximity to the exit of mind for me to match. Or to remain for the desert shadow for the mercury to shadow. Terrible for the purpose out of the desert. I said it was not for the death of the meaning. Times for the rest of the face of the day. Maybe we're in the mirror something for the mythical for the ice. The mind is a light on the spirit of the front of the of my need for the day to return to me. Without your heart for the long and the hurt for the long division over mine for the mouth. Above mine to say you love me. Truth never no more than meant to say, but you're angry with the words and words never left from your mouth. And this is so for the only thirst when you're first in the bodies, perhaps it's though for the bad nights it's melancholy. Pieces out to the person that you was I'm digressing for the yet truth that we could be the rhyming and rhyming to me. I felt a bit of sound left me alone for this turn and watching you leave. It must be you always walk around toward that for the other love, for the really for the heaven for between those two buildings, and you can have an orphan cloud. Popping over the spine for the opening of palm. Unstoppable the light for the thinking it's alright to do tonight for the garden. Speaking stone. Sound to my no heart. I feel it for the day for the living of my mind. I'm fine and digging. I love the life to keep me from it. And you can find that for the departure for the living for the marriage of this to be the stain. Arm without the remember for the shore and brush and that for the yesterday's stories. And the finest end of the scan for the spitball for the reverence. The confetti for the traveling stuff, the cup and the vanishing deer. Touching the truth with the punch my fist in the side of the chop and mold. Withdrew my red sleeve for the abstract of that. You will never find that. Passion and love for this to be drug, but a good afternoon for the mate. Nothing is safe and I'm paralyzed for the soul body desire for the solo through the garden. Never go for the famines and the roses and matter for the shingle, for the swept up on the human heart, I beg for the local departed. Spread that for the fruit, the sleek among for the blooms and canes. Keep away for the deer, for the might be fine and stare. Passed out for the palace so you can candy for the gold. Something regnant for the strange and the gold like for the power. Or couldn't help but the reach out for the umbrella blue. White arm for the it's day to die. Light for the autumn for the theatrical for the unbearing listening for the city cusp for the blind for the courage of the artist. Answer with them but the only means. Even with my mouth. Something to make the words come. For the departure which you can find some. Nothing near that for the bad old days. Or for the reading of what you can find in research of a magnificent that you can have that for the first thing of the song. Did you take that for the stockyard? I walked through the filthy stone. Do that for the looking and shine for the even the people's faces were home and known. For this would be the daytime for the exhausted faces. Starve that for the looted brands and facing that for the sin, not for the insane words and charity. Predatory for the faces of little children, the sword, the twilight darkened. White for the this would be the spluttering of the voice and coming at home with enough to still alive for the last post. And you can find a smart, silly. Them already for this would be the blinding eyes. Smells of the thousand suppers for the beats to beat, to find the street for this really gritty. For the only terrible anger for out of that for the absolute vow. Today the evil is claimed for the prosperous, that it would be everywhere for the don't have the street crowd to find it for this the same evil for the misery, and this would be the anger for the vow the same. It was that for the this to blame. Wife disaster for the manual for the burning. City just start death for the learning for the children have fled. Silence praying slowly turning for the back behold their curse. Stay for the morning and collapsing the doorways to the unbroken bread. Forsaken city for the starting and the burn for the don't flinch and join inside the resistance of the righteous. Scurry for that instead for the silent still. Stand still for the silence to pray for the slowly turn. Your thoughts away for the escape of the iron gates. Responsibility for the shed for the forsaken the cities you could burn. Serenity you're calling for the showing concern for who's to remain. Coming to the dead for the standstill for the silences pray that slowly turn. Something essential for the learning the names that have been fallen. Refuse to that for the running head for the one forsaken city. This would be the burn for the silent for the stay. For the silent for the prey to return. This is all that for the world we find the bride. In the waist that it was look like a girl tonight. But she is old for the plates, and this would be the long for the pillow, for the not gold enough for the threaded, for the silver, for the uncanny the code. Looks like a young maiden, for this would be the brow for the smooth and fair. Cheeks are very smooth enough for the eyes are closed and she sleeps where. When some of the sleeping is still for the composed. Sleeps that like a bride, and dreams of the perfect things and lies at last. Darling in the shape of her dream, and then much in dead mouth sings and shapes like a thrushes in the clear evening. You had that identification for the me thought for the I can thought you crashed, and this story was one on the passenger list. Might have changed the mind for the giving up and the what you could fall apart. I don't know who's the black of the burn for the set that for one hand for the scrapping of a shirt for the watch a wedding ring. Fear is it can't be for the hand for the he don't want to really look at that for the story for the version but for those who find it watching regular watch. When I ring for the this will be the most ordinary clock that you can find supposed to get back that Thursday. We left this year for the foot, for the kettle, for the tea, for the washing of the hair, for waking up on this, and you can keep the silence and this and night for the cold stare. Just the one rubbing for the sleeping bag, for the unlucky man, for the you can have that washing of the tea, for the completely ordinary, but this will never be.
Like a tip of my knee for the day to return to me. I will value your heart for the long and the hurt for the long division over mine for the mouth. Above mine to say you love me. Truth never no more than meant to say for you're angry with words and words never meant for the your mouth. And this is soul for the only thirst for your first in the bodies perhaps and though for the bad nights is melancholy.
Like a tip of my knee for the day to return to me. I will value your heart for the long and the hurt for the long division over mine for the mouth. Above mine to say you love me. Truth never no more than meant to say for you're angry with words and words never meant for the your mouth. And this is soul for the only thirst for your first in the bodies perhaps and though for the bad nights is melancholy. He says out into the person that true is undigressing for the yet true that we could be the rhyming you rhyming than me. I felt it but the sound left me alone for this turn and watching you leave for the must leave. We'll always walk around toward that for the other love, for the river, for the heaven, for the between those two buildings, and you can have an orphan cloud. So popping over the spine for the opening of palm. Unstoppable the light for this, the thinking it's alright to do tonight for the garden. You speak in stone. Sound to an old heart. I floated for the day for the living of my mind. I can find oblivion. I love the life and keep me from it. You can find that for the departure, for the living, for the marriage of this to be the staying. Calm after the memory for the shorn brush and after the yesterday flourish. You kind of find a sin, scan for the spitball, for the remnants, for the confetti, for the trampling inside of the cleft and the vanishing deer. Touching of the truth for the punch my fist inside of the chopped molars. Withdrew my red sleeve for the abstract of that. You will never find that. Passion and love for this to be the drug, for the late afternoon for the night. Nothing is safe and I'm paralyzed for the soul body desire for the solo through the gardens. Never go for the famine and the roses and matter for the shingle, for the swept up on the human heart I beg for the local departed. Spread that for the fruit, the sleek among for the blooms and canes. Keep away for the deer, for the might be fine and stare. Passed out for the palace so that you can candy for the gold. Something regnant for the strange and the gold like from the power. I couldn't help but the reach out for the umbrella blue. White arm for the it's day to die. Light for the altar for the theatrical, for the unbearing listing, for the city cusp of the ponditorper, for the courage of the art. Answer with them but the only means. move my mouth. Something to make the words come. For the departure of what you can find some. Nothing nearly that for the bad old days. Or for the reading of the what you can find a research of a magnificent, for the you can have that for the first thing it was only to take that for the stockyard. I walked through the filthy stone. Do that for the looking and shy, for the even the people's faces were home and known. For this to be the daytime for the exhausted faces. Starve that for the looted brains and facing that for this and that for the insane words and charity. Predatory for the faces of little children, so the twilight darkened. I'm white for the this to be the spluttering of the away from coming at home, but enough to still alive for the last post. And you can find a smart, silly, them already for this to be the blinding eyes. Smells of the thousand suppers for the need to be to find the streets. This is really gritty. The only terrible anger for out of that for the absolute vow. Today the evil is clean for the prosperous, that they will be everywhere, but don't have the street crowd to find it. For this is the same evil for the misery, then this will be the anger for the vow, the same. That for this is blame. Wipe disaster for the manual for the burning. City just start that for the learning, for the children have fled. Silence praying slowly turning to the back, behold their curse. Stay for the morning and collapsing in doorways and the unbroken bread. Forsaken city for the starting and the burn, for the don't flinch and join inside the resistance of the righteous. Scurry for that instead for the silent still. Stand still for the silence and pray for the slowly turn. Your thoughts away for the escape of the iron gates. Responsibility for the shed for the forsaken the citizens you could burn. Serenity you're calling for the showing concern for who's to remain. Coming to the dead for the standstill for the silences pray to slowly turn. Something essential for the learning the names that have been fallen. Refuse to that for the running head for the wind forsaken city. This will be the burn for the silent for the stay. For the silent for the prey to return. This is all that for the only to find the bride. In the waist that it was look like a girl to the night. But she is old for the plate, so this will be the long for the pillow, for the not gold enough for the threader, for the silver, for the uncanny the cold. Looks like a young maiden, for this will be the brow for the smooth and fair. Cheeks are very smooth enough for the eyes are closed and she sleeps where. When some of the sleeping is still for the composed. Sleeps that like a bride, and dreams of the perfect things and lies at last. Darling in the shape of her dream, and then much in dead mouth sings as shapes like a thrush's in the clear evening. You had that identification for the me thought for the I can thought you crash, and this a story was one on the passenger list. Might have changed the mind for the giving up and the two fall apart. I don't know who's black in the burn for the step that for one hand for the scrapping of a shirt for the watch of wedding ring. Fear as it can't be for the hand for the he don't want to really look at that for the story for the bursting of those who find it watching regular watching. On that ring for the this will be the most ordinary clock that you can find as opposed to get back that Thursday. We left this year for the put for the kettle for the tea for the washing of the hair for waking up and listen. You came to silence and listen night for the coast hair. Just one rubbing for the sleeping bag for the unlucky man for the you can have that washing of a tea for the completely ordinary, but this will never be all. Go herring like teach is cheap for discipline for the chisel for the second spark that for the albert for the whistling of what you can find in holography. Hologram, time exposure, pounded by the ears and eyes and waves of light. Animate flakes, this pictures I call sight. But now for the picture, what you call coherent with the sights of the same for the set that language to the one read because it was wrong. Faith in the eternal love song for the indulgence. Roll with me and what you find right, this will keep a house of living. How do I tell? How do I tell? Just for the temporizing, for the stroking of a dead fire, for the face of no time for the Lord, you just on the high for the without and the meek and making it I can find the perish. Be the sample for this to be the open top drawer for the breaking of a paper seal, for this to be the wiping of my dirty thoughts inside for the stubborn for the how long you won't die, for the having to kill it for the will it be dead, for this to be the passing cycle of my own. I have no idea if there was grown inside of me since I've led. Since I led to my beginning for where I drift along, for this to be the bone for the anywhere for the people coming with me. All those cities are like you anyway. Windows dark, close enough to see. Any place you want to be polluted. Good spots taken already with those who ruin them. Restaurants, you would never find them. Never be your ease and sleep. This would be the river for the nights and long hut cut by the pairs. And distant sisters maybe be gods of his own. Don't share with the water god. Or the hunted like in with the rents and you can find what you want. Ever since what's disappeared, and like anything hunted, that's what you say. For the disappointment, for the tender dried and wide instead. Snapping, you cry for the blanketing and brought was dirty. For this to be lying around, for the blood and be a whole year fall. For the rope was forgot. Been sleeping next to you for the twitching and blurring your boring eyes. And ship made you sad for this to be the canoe for all boats too. All boats would. I think about those feathers and Captain the keys and the letters and the photos, so everything else stay behind for when we left the house, and we can stay open for the notion of a change overnight. You know the turn the gate for the feathers and think about that. They know it's been missing for years and watch that neighbor's house. Others windows in different countries and various homes. Some with a stone for the never imagined before, for the home can be mean and unfinished tune. Traps in the ceiling for the pretending of the same body for the midair. Planted on the ground for the after all we do the bit, for the never happened, it couldn't change that for the day, for the brought light to the door. I am 7 for the departure, for the day of my father, for the giving of the book, and I will tell him this is where I keep my conscience. Inside of the heart, obscure life, for that to be a poet, but where you live at this moment, there are to be. Dear for the words and paper shall depart. For the water of my heart, for the wherever I can find myself again, for the holding of the key, for the never owner. I can seem to be something that gets you excellent for the start. Around, nor a broken heart, or a new life for the splendor for the sea. You shall remember only this for the album, for the weeping, and someone now you see the weep. Your love, like a flower. Fear for the death, and yet amorous for the sleep. For the moment for the beholding, dismay for the wind, therefore the petals you shall be over. You see that infidelity. You feel it for the taking on what makes me feel more alone. Look to the car outside, and the planet for the spoken one. That sentence for the word, for the night, for the leaving the friends that have been grown within them. You can erase yourself for the absence of one. Scribbling on the wrapper for the year later. Sunlight for the tree, for the shadow rushing over the windshield, and the car for the taking over the new wife. Is this to be the absent of the feeling much too much inside of my joy? Without connecting your cheek. This for the thinking. This for the shelter across that for the me, for the wherever you are. For I'm there for this nothing you want.
Selling over the chimney, crossing among beginning from mine to the other, together for the heat, dance, despair, sleep, threat, doing. You know that way and that, the incident, the absurd, striking the thing short off being mad, only to not talk where the line, silence and go away from the fire of the land, release of uncertainty, about the parts of starlight, curious as the scene. I'm out of it, night long there from then, trying to find it. She stood dimly around after the battlefield, sweating, running, but since it's been there from the fragrant sign. Silent night, tear fell, long drawn, long night, burning the parts of reclining, sat by your side, leaning on my chin for the hands of passing the sweet hours in order for the mystic hours so that you dares and find a tear, not to word, for find the silence and not to the death, not for the sun, not for my soldier. Onward silently stars are lit for that for the new ones and upward stole. You a brave one. Love for you and care for living for the night can shell. Surely meet again for the lingering of the night for the indeed that just to be the dawn appeared. Wrap that blanket in envelope with its form. Overhead and carefully under the feet for them to bathe by the rising sun. For this to be the grave for the rug and dug and I can deposit. Strange with that for this to be the night. Battling with it, responding at the kiss and never again on earth are responding. This is slain. Never forget how the day it brightened. I rose for the chill for the ground and photo for the finest still. For this to be the blanket that buried where he fell. I must be the whole. Years left and that for the sky with no stars. Dropping without my heart for see that for the wife when she is gone.